It's a computer, isn't it? It's a computer. It's very much algorithmic. I was watching a TV program. It's a new TV program on Apple TV Plus called Hello Tomorrow. It stars Billy Crudup, and he's essentially it's set in I want to say the 1950s, but it's set in a very futuristic 1950s where there are flying cars and there are robots serving us drinks in diners and stuff. And he's essentially a salesman who's selling timeshares on the moon. It's okay. We're a couple of episodes in. We're still with it. We haven't abandoned it. Anyway, the first scene, is him in full-on salesman mode, where he's trying to sell this timeshare to this chap, and oh my god, it's absolute masterful sales. Anyway, he gives this guy he gets his foot far enough in the door to give this guy the brochure, and this guy is looking at the brochure of these dwellings on the moon that he could be part of. And the guy goes, yeah, it looks great. He said, I'll take it home and I'll think about it. And Billy Crudup goes, oh, pros and cons. Yeah, you know what else does pros and cons? And then he points to the robot waitress and he goes, hunks of metal like her. And I thought, oh, wow, what a wonderful, wonderful metaphor for the left brain, for the intellect. I mean, I've got my left brain right in another metaphor that I love using, maybe because of my medical background, is the left brain and the right brain consciousness, which is the same diagram as this. This is kind of like left brain and this is right brain. It's all the same thing. It's just, different people find different metaphors helpful. So who does pros and cons? Hunks of metal like her. Well, it's almost like our left brain, the intellect, is that hunk of metal, is that algorithmic computer, James, is that thing that likes to go, well, there should be some rules here. What I want is an if this, then that. That's what it wants. That's the language of the left brain. And it's useful and it's helpful and it's all in the mix of the human experience. But it's a bit lifeless. It's like the other metaphor that comes to mind that's been in the news a lot recently is, I don't know if any of you have been following the highs and the lows of artificial intelligence. All of a sudden, it's become big. All of the big search engines have started using artificial intelligence, this Chat GPT it's called, to furnish search results. And like universities and schools are a bit worried because you can ask it, you can say, write me an essay on this, that and the other in the style of da-da-da-da-da. You can give it a whole bunch of instructions and it will come up with a really brilliantly written essay that is largely indistinguishable from human output. But, and there's an absolutely fantastic article that I will put a link in the show notes for called I Won't Harm You If You Don't Harm Me First, because Microsoft came out with their version of artificial intelligence chatbot recently, and it got very dark very quickly because the person who was quizzing it really got this artificial intelligence in a very dark place where it was worried that this person was going to harm it and was threatening the person. It's absolutely bonkers to read. And he made the point that these artificial intelligence chatbots that really, really look like you're having a conversation with something that's sentient, with something that is essentially human, that has a soul. All it's doing is it's a prediction engine that is scanning its content of what it knows, which in its case is the whole of the internet, and it's algorithmically looking at what is the next most appropriate word. It is literally done on a word by word basis, and it's, you know, it's super, super fast because of computer power these days. But that's all it's doing. It is not sentient. And again, for me, that is the most spectacular metaphor for the left brain, because it's not for the mind, for the personal mind, for the intellect. It's not sentient. It's literally it's a data in, data out model. Yeah, it's a phenomenally powerful, way more powerful than these chatbots, but it is a computer nonetheless. It can only run its algorithms and spew out the data that it thinks is the most appropriate for you to hear. And, you know, talking of the left brain, right brain stuff, you know, we know from the split brain experiments that they did, is that when they gave a task to just the right side of the brain, without the left brain's knowledge, because there was no communication between the two of them, that the person performed that task, and then they asked the left brain, why did you do that task? Now, the only legitimate answer that the left brain should have been able to come up with was, well, I don't know. I just observed it happening. I wasn't there when the instruction was given, but I saw this body performing the task, but I don't know why. I'm not party to that information, because it wasn't party to that information. But what happened? No, it made shit up. It confabulated, and the people came out with responses as to the reason why they'd performed this task, which was, you know, essentially because the researcher had asked the right brain to perform that task. That was the only reason they did it. But it confabulated a reason. It went into what it knew. It plumbed the depths of its internet, of its thought system, of its data, and it came up with the best answer it could. And those people genuinely believed those answers. It wasn't like they were, you know, sat there going, well, hang on, let's make up an answer. No, they genuinely believed those answers because the left brain had come up with it. So on its own, this isn't sentient. Mixed in with this, the full-on human experience, yeah, it gives the impression of being sentient, because this is where the sentience comes from life itself.